Hello, historians. Here we're taking a look at some of our works of art that are representative of pop art. So go ahead and get your vocabulary if you haven't already. Pop art is art which incorporates elements from consumer culture, so mass media or popular culture, such as any images from motion pictures or advertising. We've got a couple examples of this. It's going to take into account what our popular culture is, and then the artists are going to make work based on that. Get your ID for this work of art. Sorry, not ID, vocabulary. Next, we have two uh, materials terminology for some of the pop works of art that we're going to see. So support is any solid surface onto which the painting is placed, typically a canvas or a panel. So we've had supports for a long time, but now we're just giving the definition for it. And stenciling is the technique used to pass ink or paint over holes cut into cardboard or metal and then onto the surface. Typically, this is done with spray paint, but it can also be done with other materials, just regular paint. And it is kind of similar, as we talked about, to the wood blocking technique. So you keep the same color for whatever the stencil part is. Go ahead and get down the vocab if you haven't already. All right, this is work number 147. It is called the Maryland Diptych. It's done by Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol was a pretty prolific artist working in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s and on into the 80s. This particular work is made with oil and acrylic, and then it does have a silkscreen enamel on canvas. Warhol is known for his silkscreens, so it involves that stenciling technique that we just saw, and so then you use the silkscreen. Now, the downside of a silkscreen is that eventually, like this particular work is showing in the second part of the diptych, eventually, as you use the ink, it is going to fade over time, and this is a technique that Warhol was attempting to use and to say something about the work of art. Go ahead and get your ID for 147 if you haven't already. Okay, some ideas about this particular work of art. It's pretty large. It's 9 feet by 7 feet. The original image that Warhol used was a publicity still from a film called Niagara that Marilyn Monroe was in. It does give us kind of a flattened look at her. Silkscreen is not meant for any kind of three-dimensionality, so the flatness is definitely applying here. On the left side, we have flat colors painted first, and then he applied the silkscreen image on top, and so that adhered to the paint and the canvas. So her social characteristics here are magnified: her bright red lips, her blonde hair. Heavily applied lipstick, her seductive expression. We see a lot of bold artificial colors on the left, and then the tonal variations do the silk screen on the right. Again, that's because as you're doing the pressing over time, you're running out of ink, and so that is what makes it fade. All right, so what is Warhol's goal here? He did have a particular perspective. He very much respected Marilyn Monroe and her life that she was living, and he is attempting to call out media culture. It invites the viewer to worship the legendary icon, somewhat like a religious work, right? Like a diptych or another work that we've seen before. So he's drawing that illusion between in the modern day, maybe we don't have as a significant religious works, but we do have our popular culture works, and that is how this fits into the modern day. All right, get your form and function. All right, now we have content. The monumental scale, again, is quite large, demands our attention, and it is meant to show like the importance of the subject matter, right, in a reference to religious art. Are celebrities perhaps the new gods? They could be, right? One side's colored to represent her life, the other side is meant to represent her death. Warhol did create this 4 months after Monroe committed suicide. Warhol's use of the silkscreen technique drops any kind of modulation or shading. There is no chiaroscuro here. Or very limited, just on the black where her neck is, really. That shading there. It does present the flatness of the artist, which is meant to show that she's kind of fake, right? Marilyn Monroe was a persona, and so this is meant to like reinforce that. Marilyn Monroe, a manufactured name, a made-up name, a one-dimensional sex symbol. Her face appears multiple times like an old roll of film. And the repetition of faces reflects the number of times Monroe appeared before the public, sometimes seemingly overexposed or underexposed, depending on the time. Go ahead. Oops, sorry. Okay, some context for this work of art. We have Warhol. He's reacting to the abstract expressionism. So he wants to take the popular culture and kind of reframe it. The grid-like pattern almost seems like mechanical and detached in the composition. It's the opposite of those brushstrokes that we saw that were so important to the abstract and expressionists. Pop art is a reaction against that. It glorifies and magnifies the commonplace. It bridges the gap between high art and pop culture, and it's often centered around mass production and replication. It doesn't rely on any feelings or subjective thought to make your artistic decisions. He is oftentimes, though, making some kind of commentary on popular culture, though. Warhol was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1928. He grew up Catholic, and his Catholicism does influence his art. He begins to exhibit. He receives good reviews, so he opens his own studio called The Factory, which was a gathering place. He nearly dies in an assassination attempt in 1968, and because of it, he suffers like pain throughout his lifetime. And then after some of the effects of the assassination attempt, he does die at the age of 58 from complications from surgery. So he dies on the younger side. Get your context. Okay, what works might we compare to? Hopefully with the diptych right away, it made you think of. There we go, the Annunciation triptych. And The Woman One, another commentary on women in media. The Tatico figurine can be good for presentation of a female figure, although you could probably do any of our female figures, but I like to go back to that one. And then I have some works that we're going to see. It's called Pink Panther by Jeff Koons, and then the one that is right above me here is a Basquiat called The Horn Players. So we'll see those in the contemporary unit. Get down your comparisons. Really briefly, I have a couple other of Warhol's works of art that are pretty similar. So this is a work that he did after the assassination of JFK. That's Jacqueline Kennedy. And the repetition, the black and white, all drawing are similar allusions to the Monroe. And you've maybe seen these before. These are Warhol soup cans. Again, pop art tends to take the commonplace and put it into art. And so that is what you're seeing here. That is all for card number 147, Andy Warhol's Marilyn Diptych.